The human body is a prison, a tomb. Hernias, cancer, car accidents. The human body is frail. At any moment, your body might turn against you. You think death don't got your number? Think again. You ain't buying, you're only renting. Death is an affront to the ego. What, you mean I'm gonna die someday? Don't you know who I am? The sum of all human endeavor might be boiled down to a flight from death. Eternal salvation, the pharaoh's tomb, passing on your genes. Everybody's got some scheme to live forever. Everybody's out for something to help them transcend the weakness and mundanity of the flesh, whether it be plastic surgery, human growth hormone, or an antenna embedded in your forehead. Nature, that's a start, but what does nature know? You can do better. And religion, forget about it. Why waste your time trying to get right with God when you can cut out the middleman and become your own God? When we first meet Seth Brundle, he's on the verge of a great scientific breakthrough. He's invented a machine that promises to make possible teleportation from one place to another. Why teleportation? Because planes, boats, riding in cars, it all gives Brundle motion sickness. So, from limitation comes inspiration. Seth Brundle at the beginning of the film is an example of progress at its most ideal, its most well-meaning. Washing laundry by hand is a pain in the ass, so you invent the washing machine. The horse and buggy is too slow, so you invent the automobile. In theory, these inventions make our lives easier. They allow us to commit our time and attention to other more important things. Then again, now that you've got the automobile, you need to make sure the gasoline keeps flowing. Maybe you've got to face-fuck the earth to do it. Maybe you've got to start a war. It might seem like a good idea to put a camera in everybody's cell phone, but then again... As an aside, the original film touches on these points as well, but in a way that's less to do with transhumanism or body horror and is more of a broad post-atomic cautionary tale against unfettered technological progress. Cronenberg is to large extent following the lead of the original. So Seth Brundle works on his teleporter with some help from journalist turned love interest Veronica Quaife. One night, while they're lying in bed, Brundle accidentally cuts himself with a piece of circuit board from which bits of fly hair start sprouting a short time later. Real subtle, Cronenberg, real subtle. When Seth Brundle eventually goes through his teleporter, it could almost be a superhero origin story. He gains enhanced strength, coordination, and stamina. The teleporter, he speculates, has purified him. Seth Brundle imagines he has found this sort of unexpected off-brand use for his teleporter.
And I'll tell you, I think it's going to allow me to realize the personal potential I've been neglecting all these years that I've been obsessively pursuing goal after goal. You know, I just don't think I've ever given me a chance to be me.
At the heart of transhumanism is the idea of technology as the overcoming of limitation, a shortcut to self-actualization. Aren't you tired of being stupid? Aren't you tired of being boring and stupid? Why not get that antenna implanted in your head that lets you smell colors? Get a Neuralink in your brain. Bad luck being a man? Have you tried being a woman? Hell, you don't even have to go that far. Spend 15 minutes on Twitter. Socialization in the internet age might be considered a transhumanist endeavor. Every day the human mind is being terraformed by likes, upvotes, algorithms, terms of service. But into what exactly? Who knows? Don't worry about it. But, as Seth Brundle finds out, there are no shortcuts to evolution or enlightenment. Cronenberg channels the writings of Friedrich Nietzsche and his philosophy of the Overman in Brundle's transformation from human to more than human. It creeps in first at his manic euphoria over his newfound abilities.
Decimation, breakdown, and reformation is inherently purging. It makes a man a king. From the moment I walked out of the pod, I felt like $1 million. You know, I think I am going to have cannoli after all. Waiter!
Those who degenerate, wrote Nietzsche, are of the highest importance wherever progress is to take place. Every great progress must be preceded by a partial weakening. You must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. How could you rise anew if you have not first become ashes?
Now, all I've done is say to the world, let's go! Move! Catch me if you can. Waiter! Jesus Christ!
The idea is elaborated on as Brundle begins to fall apart, as he realizes that if he really is to leave humanity behind, it's not necessarily going to be pretty. Central to Nietzsche's Overman is the idea that man must commit himself to a re-evaluation of all values, that man must graduate beyond his traditional notions of good and evil, moral and immoral, and that to supplant God as creator, man must create himself. God is dead, etc., etc.
Stopped biting my nails. Oh, look at this. What's this? I don't know. I seem to be stricken by a disease with a purpose, wouldn't you say? Maybe not such a bad disease after all.
But it's a dangerous crossing from man to overman. Man is a rope, wrote Nietzsche, tied between beast and overman, a rope over an abyss.
Turned into what?
What do you think, a fly? Am I becoming a 185-pound fly? No, I'm becoming something that never existed before. I'm becoming Brundle Fly.
Then again, maybe Nietzsche's total reevaluation of values is just a massive cope. Maybe some people have no choice but to reevaluate their values because they have so failed in all instances where conventional values might be brought to bear. I like eating dirt, says the man with nothing else to eat. I've realigned my values so that eating dirt is good, and I like it, and now I'm the ubermensch. In turning into the Fly, Seth Brundle is confronted by exactly what he'd been trying to overcome: disease, mortality, alienation. He becomes a living tumor. There's a reason why he becomes a fly. A fly feeds on the dead. A fly feeds on human waste. A fly is probably the least living, the least dignified thing in the world, at least as far as man is concerned. Critics have often drawn parallels between The Fly and the AIDS crisis, which was going on at the same time of its release, but Cronenberg, by his own account, was going for something more broad, more essential. For me, said Cronenberg, there was something about the Fly story that was much more universal: aging and death, something all of us have to deal with. As Brundle falls apart, he keeps his body parts like museum pieces in the medicine cabinet, relics of his humanity. He talks about them with a sort of nostalgia. He is pallbearer at his own funeral. Once he learns that Veronica is pregnant, however, something changes.
Why did you want to kill Brundle? The baby might be all that's left of the real me.
The sexual politics are loud as a bullhorn as Brundle crashes through the window and carries Veronica away before she can have an abortion. Veronica goes through her own, specifically feminine, body horror, the horror of not knowing what potentially monstrous thing might be growing inside her. Seth Brundle's final mad ploy, then, is to use the teleportation pod to join himself, Veronica, and their baby all into the one organism. Seth Brundle the Overman, the pioneer of the flesh, when confronted by the dark gaping terror of leaving behind his humanity, recoils back to the human, back to the safety and comfort of the tribe. Unfortunately for him, there's no going back, and instead Brundle Fly, becomes fused with his invention. A man devotes himself to technology to overcome the limitations of the flesh, and in doing becomes grotesquely inextricable from technology, becomes deformed by it. To reiterate Nietzsche, man is a rope tied between beast and overman, a rope over an abyss. To quote Geena Davis, be afraid, be very afraid.